Hello, everyone. Welcome to Limping for Jesus. I am your host and pastor, Mike Matthews. On this lovely Saturday, we usually record and post episodes on Thursdays, but this week has been a pretty difficult week for me. I was battling some health issues. I was in the hospital earlier this week, so I'm just now getting back up to speed. So I just wanted to bring this episode for your weekend to encourage you. The title of today's episode is Who's in Your Corner? And we are going to look at the importance of godly Christian friendship, what it is, what it's not from Scripture. We are only going to look at a couple verses today out of Proverbs 27, and maybe if time permits, we'll go to Galatians chapter 6. So, yeah, Christian friendships are important for your walk in the faith. We are called to help each other grow. We are called to hold each other accountable. We are called to make each other better. So let me bring up my PowerPoint. And this is episode 150, guys. I am amazed that the podcast has gone this far. The last couple of years, truly trying to find our voice here on the internet to help you trust God in difficult things. There were a period where I was experimenting with type of episodes. I want to bring you content that will encourage you. I would highly recommend going to watch my interview with my friend Nathan Blake. So what we are trying to do with the show is bring you teaching, bring you sermons and messages, but also interviews of people who I want to talk to that will help you in your journey. Limping for Jesus is inspired by my life as a Christian who lives with cerebral palsy. I rock the gangster limp from birth, and it all is about how I am enduring, how God has taught me how to endure for Him through limping for Jesus. We are all limping, right? We all have things in our life that make it difficult to trust God. But I hope that this ministry will show you that it's possible to acknowledge those things, acknowledge that life is not always easy, but God is always good. In your trials and your suffering and your pain, have a purpose. So that's core of this ministry. You can find us on Facebook. I do devotionals on there. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on all the audio apps. I would encourage you to go to our YouTube, like and subscribe. Go to our TikTok. While TikTok is still here, don't know if it's going to be banned in America or not, but you know, however, you like to stream your content, please go look up Limping for Jesus, because I really feel like this ministry is important right now when there's such a distrust of Christianity, of the church. A lot of people are dealing with church hurt and stuff like that, or there is a big deconstruction movement. So I just want to help you in your journey. So today we are going to look at first Proverbs uh, 27:17. Now this verse, I gotta tell you, it is often what ministry uses to define brotherhood, and like they'll do this verse is tagged on bumper stickers, on camo stuff. This verse is often used when you go to a men's small group or a outing, but sadly, too many times this verse is not applied correctly. because many times in the Christian community, accountability is not this. Accountability is someone trying to speak into your life and they don't want you to speak into them. They don't want you to, there's no mutual accountability. And Christian friendships should make each other better, right? So the verse is iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another, and that is out of the ESV for those who are listening on the audio podcast. Uh, Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. We make each other better. We are called to encourage each other, challenge each other to fall harder after Christ, to battle sin in our life. Sadly, too many times, uh, what I've experienced in my walk with other Christian men, and this goes to, I posted about this on Facebook a couple of days ago. When I was a younger Christian, I was so hungry and eager for mentors. I let the wrong men in my life. I think part of that is because before I became a Christian, I didn't have a relationship with my biological father. So when I became a Christian, I wanted godly men to speak into my life. And anyone that says they were a Christian, I wrongly trusted them, and I wrongly trusted the wrong people to speak into my life. I had men in my life who didn't believe in my call as a pastor, even to the point when once I got hired by a church, they weren't supportive. They weren't really cheering me on. They weren't really praying for me. They weren't really uplifting me. They were very negative, and they tried to make my ministry harder because they didn't believe in me. And I had men in my life that wanted to be in ministry, wanted to be pastors, and they did not feel like uh, I deserved what God was blessing me with as making a man with cerebral palsy a pastor. So I can tell you, it is so vital to get these type of relationships that are iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another, where we make each other better. Because also I've had Christian friends that truly cared about me, truly cared about my walk, truly cared about um, my faith in my life, and we could talk to each other, and truly hold each other accountable. What I mean is, when you let people in and you let them know how you're struggling, rather with a sin issue, or in your marriage or relationships or at work, and you can truly take the mask off and really let each other in your lives, and do what's best for um, each other. We are called to cheer each other on, to pursue sanctification, to pursue holiness, to become more like Christ. And godly friendships are designed to do this. We need these type of friendships. Um, uh, so I have experienced both good and bad when inside Christian relationships. Galatians 6:1 says this: Brother, if anyone is caught in any transgression, you who are spiritual should restore him in the spirit of gentleness. Keep watch on yourself, lest you too be tempted. Verse 2: bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. So we are called to do life together, the good, the bad, the ugly. We are called to face it together. And guys, I wish I could say that these type of relationships are in every church, but but we know not every church is healthy. We know not every man and woman in the church is healthy, and and it it can be hard to find. I'm not gonna lie to you. It can be very difficult to find, but it's worth fighting for. It's worth seeking because we are called to do life together. Jesus does not want us to be a lone wolf Christian. Christianity is not an individual sport. It's a team sport. We all need each other, and 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 this verse is is about these type of relationships. So, and another part of this is as a Christian, when it comes to Christian friendships, we don't want yes men or yes women. Earlier in this passage, we have a verse that says in Proverbs 27:6, faithful are the wounds of a friend, profuse are the kisses of an enemy. And there's that saying that says, friends stab you in the front and enemies stab you in the back. What does that mean? Yo, if I'm bugging out and I'm wilding out in my life and I'm blind to its sinful area in my life, or I'm not doing right by my wife or by my child or my family or my friends, you want people that you trust that show the love of Christ to be able to say, "Hey, bro, knock it off. Hey, you're really misstepping here. You're really in error here." And can you look at this decision in a different light? Like I read Galatians 6:2 a minute ago. You know, like we speak truth and love, right? We are called when someone is in making mistakes or not truly reflecting their character. They are good Christians. That they are a Christian that might be struggling with something, and and we should be have the freedom and love to speak to each other, to restore each other, because restoration back to the narrow way of discipleship, of following Jesus, is the goal, right? It's the goal. So we need these type of friends. We don't want people who blow smoke up our butt. Okay. As a pastor, I learned that the last 20 years, you will have people who will try to get close to the pastor, get close to the pastor's wife, and that makes them feel good. So they'll tell the pastor and the pastor's family, they will act like you're on a pedestal and you're walking on water, right? But the moment that you let them down, or the moment that you uh, they disapprove of something you do, uh, they turn on you, right? But the typical stance is they'll just co-sign everything you do and say, and I learned that as a pastor to kind of, I don't want yes men in my corner. I want true godly men and women that love me, who care for my soul, and we have this type of back and forth relationship where we are actually doing life together. Um, I I know I talked on the podcast before, but about this, but a couple years ago or last year, I did a men's group with my current church that I attend, and it was amazing. There's what this week we did a 12-week Bible study, and we really got to know people and what they struggle with, and there's a week called Strongholds Week. Okay, so we got into a group as men, and we were open about the things we battle with. And I, as a pastor, to be honest about the things I struggle with, um it it's hard to open up sometimes, because in Christianity, if a pastor or a ministry leader is raw and open about the things they struggle with, they know they run the risk of people seeing them different and not trusting them, or even losing their jobs, right? So, but I wasn't on staff at this church, but I was still had that devil's voice in my head saying, "No one's gonna like you. No one's gonna. No one. They're gonna judge you. They're gonna mistreat you. Stuff like that, right?" But I was on it. I was open about the things I was struggling with. I was honest about the rough couple years I had, and other men in the group was like they were like, "Pastor Mike, the moment that you were transparent and authentic, it really opened the room up for other men to be honest too." And to this day, I have formed great friendships out of that group. And the thing, there are times where I don't see these guys for weeks because of my ministry schedule and life. It's crazy. But when I was in a hospital, one of my buddies from this church called me and prayed for me. And it was very late at night for him. It was like 9:30, 10 o'clock. I was in the hospital, and he prayed for me right there. Those type of friendships empowered you, and I felt so encouraged that another man of God took the time to call and pray for me, and just let me know they were thinking about me. And that, because when life gets hard and we face difficult things, we really need other Christians to help us keep our eye on the Lord. Because no matter how mature you are, and no matter how much theology you know, no matter how much Bible you know, when life gets difficult, we can lose our way, right? We can get off track. Circumstances try to drown out God's voice, but when we have godly people in our life, I have friends in my life that I know right now that they come from a place of love, and they know I come from a place of love, and I can tell them something when they're being jerks and idiots and goobers, and they're not reflecting Christ, and they can do the same thing to me. And we need those type of relationships to become more like Christ. And I hope that today's episode would help you realize that, like, we need friends. I don't want you to go through this life, if you know the Lord and you're a Christian, I don't want you to do life alone. We need each other. I pray that you can get into a good church. I pray that you can get into a good Bible study or a good small group ministry, as I wipe off spit in the corner of my mouth. Okay, so rocking the palsy, drool is a possibility. I always joke saying that uh, in the dating world, I'm a strong 7 because I drool a little, but in disabled dating, I'm a 10 because I can do steps. So, but I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for everyone who who follows us on TikTok and on YouTube, who supports this ministry. It is really encouraging to see how God is using them for Jesus. If you want me to attend your church as a guest speaker or speak at a youth group thing, you can email me at limpingforjesus@gmail.com. You can message the ministry on Facebook. Um, but I am available to speak at your church event to encourage your church. I am available to train staff also on how to interact with people with disabilities or people who are suffering. I love doing those trainings. But I pray that you have godly people in your corner. I pray that you have these iron sharpen iron relationships. Do not settle until you get them. Don't just let anyone speak into your life, but don't give up on trying to find godly people to speak God's love and truth into your life. We make each other better. And until next time, guys, I want to encourage you, keep living for Jesus. God bless and have a great weekend.